Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself.
The Matrix, the 1999 film that captivated audiences everywhere. And yes, I'm going to review the first 3 Matrix movies before Matrix Resurrections. So here we go. But before I get into it, I'm going to say this is going to be full of spoilers for The Matrix. You have been warned. I remember growing up that The Matrix was one of those movies that was always in my household. My dad was a huge fan of the film, but I was never allowed to watch it because it came out when I was 3 years old in theaters. And then growing up, I just was never allowed to watch it. But it was one of those movies that you'd always go to a friend's house and you'd watch it and sneak around your parents. And The Matrix is one of those films that my friends and I have watched probably over 20 times. This is one of the best science fiction films ever made. I absolutely love the directing and the script here by the Wachowski sisters. They did such a fucking fantastic job with everything in this movie. It's one of those movies where I read the script and I'm watching it and I just get happy that movies like this are made with such originality. And you can tell that the Wachowski sisters put so much care into every single frame of editing, shooting, all that. It was a movie that they clearly knew would work and they put their hearts into it. I mean, the idea of this film is genius. The Matrix, it's the simulation that we're living in. And once you're awoken from it, you can bend the rules of reality, which makes some of the craziest and fucking most iconic action sequences ever to be put in film. And you can never question the absurdity of it because when people are jumping off of walls or jumping 20 feet in the air, it all makes sense within the story. And that's just brilliant. And the action in this film is fucking incredible. Everything's in camera. There's wide shots. Everything looks real. It doesn't look like anything is CGI. And this film did such a great job with its action that it created a whole era of films in the early 2000s that tried to mimic this action with a lot of slow-mo, a lot of like crazy shots, and it just never could get it right. The Matrix was the only film that could get it right. And like I said, the action here is incorporated so well with the story, and the story here is fucking great. One of the best first acts of a film I've seen. The opening sequence. Once you've seen the film a million times, everything makes sense, and it's still jaw-dropping and nail-biting. But the whole first act of this movie where Neo is learning more and more about the Matrix and what's really real, you just get completely sucked in. It's such an interesting mystery at this point. And there's really not much action in the first half of this film, but you're still sucked into this movie. And in my opinion, we get introduced to one of the best twists I've seen in film, where we find out the Matrix is a simulation and that the real world has been enslaved by machines. It's like this apocalyptic world, and we're just slaves to these machines. And the Matrix is what we think is the real world, but we're actually slaves and trapped in this computer simulation. When you think about it, that's fucking frightening. When I first watched this as a kid, it fucking freaked me out. And from there, the film never lets up. We're just introduced to more cool shit. We learn more about the Matrix. And then on top of that, that's when the action really starts to pick up and it gets really fucking intense and just incredible. And before I give a whole synopsis of this film, let's talk about the casting. I think Keanu Reeves as Neo is fucking awesome. It's great. It's one of those roles that I could just never see anyone else playing, you know what I mean? And he fucking kills it. When he's fighting people, you can tell it's him actually doing a lot of the stunts. Just his mannerisms, everything. He was perfect for this role. Laurence Fishburne as Morpheus is fucking awesome. But my favorite performance in this film, and probably the other 2 films, is Hugo Weaving as Agent Smith. My God, what a fucking performance. What a fucking cool character. The way he just gives his lines, his mannerisms, and everything. He steals every scene he's in. He's just interesting, but also terrifying. What a great fucking villain. As I said before, the story and plot here is always so engaging, and you're learning so much more. There's never a dull moment in this film, but also it makes you ask the right questions, like, would you really want to take the red pill if you knew what was on the other side? Things like that. And when we get to the final act of this film, there are just so many iconic set pieces, like the lobby shootout scene. I absolutely love the sequence where Neo and Agent Smith finally fight in the subway. It's just so brutal. You can just feel the punches. Everything's on screen and feels real. It doesn't feel like there's a computer making it. It feels so brutal and real. Also, the score here is incredible. It intensifies everything. I love the idea that they find specific phones to be able to get out of the Matrix, it really intensifies a lot of these sequences. It just makes you fucking bite your nails. You're like, get the fucking phone, Neo! Like the last sequence, you know, it's to find the fucking phone and the drones are about to zap into their ship. There's just so much going on. They can't use the EMP because if they use the EMP, Neo's gonna die. Like, it's such great filmmaking, such great action filmmaking. It's just flawless. You can just feel the care that's on each frame of this film, and you really have to appreciate how original this film is. It's fucking awesome. The Matrix is timeless and one of the best science fiction films ever made. It has flawless storytelling where you are absolutely engaged with the characters, the plot, everything that's going on. There's never a dull moment in this film. The first half of this film sets up everything so perfectly. You learn so much about the Matrix, but you're so engaged with the plot and the characters that you just want to learn more, and you're given more. And then the second half of this film, you're still given more of that, but it just intensifies with some of the best action set pieces we've ever seen in a film. The action in this film is absolutely incredible. It changed the game. It was revolutionary. I mean, go look back and watch films from the early 2000s. They try to mimic exactly what The Matrix did. They just never could. It has perfect casting with Keanu Reeves, Laurence Fishburne, and my personal favorite, Hugo Weaving. The idea of The Matrix is brilliant because you can do so much cool shit with that, specifically with the action. It's one of those films that's just so original, and you can feel that the Wachowski sisters put so much care and effort into each specific frame of this film to make it the best it could possibly be. And this is one of the best science fiction movies ever made. It's absolutely timeless. And of course, The Matrix gets 10 Davy Daves.
It's over! It's over!
I normally watch this once a year. Actually, scratch that. I normally watch the whole trilogy at least once a year. And it's been a couple years since I've watched this. I don't know why, but I'm just glad it's as good as I remembered. And if you've never seen The Matrix, and I just spoiled it in this review, I apologize. Still go watch it though. You could read the whole synopsis of the film or even the script. And I guarantee you would still love the film. I guarantee you still have a great time. So go do it if you haven't seen it. But if you have seen The Matrix, please let me know what you guys think about it. I am curious to hear. And thank you so much for watching. Click here to see more of Dave's Takes.